Greetings, Crusaders. It is I, Marshall Bohemond, and, well, Games Workshop updated their Twitter today. Big deal, right? Now, you see, it's a big deal because roughly around, what was it, end of March, they basically abandoned Twitter. And they took it off all their videos, like saying, hey, find us here, and all that stuff. So, Games Workshop hasn't been back on their Twitter in a while, in a couple of months now. But today, this morning, they added a post. It was about upcoming releases on Warhammer Plus, on the main English Twitter. Except that when I went to confirm it, it was gone. And I thought I was going crazy, honestly. But then I asked on Twitter if some people saw it, and yeah, they can confirm they saw it. The post did exist, and it was deleted. And shout out to my boy Thor Odin's son, because he managed to get a screen cap, of the deleted post, because as a mutual of his responded. So yeah, they made a post and they deleted it. Now, that may not seem like such a big deal, but it really leans into a problem Games Workshop has, and that's with social media. Games Workshop has always had a problem with social media and how they manage it. Now, because as it currently stands, they haven't updated their Twitter since June. It was an unannounced departure, but they also haven't shut the Twitter down. It's still there. The main Warhammer Twitter is still there. But after this incident, they went back and retroactively locked replies on a couple of their posts. Almost as if they knew they were going to get backlash for posting something and then deleting it, even though they posted it for some reason. And really on a good day, Games Workshop, the higher-ups, have no idea what their social media team is doing. I have used the term rogue intern in the past to describe your average, person who works on the English social media wing of Games Workshop, and it's not wrong. I mean, you can go if you want to just tell how Games Workshop doesn't know what they're doing, just go to the official Japanese Warhammer Twitter account and watch how they're continuously updating and providing news, and they're still running like nothing has changed. But the English one is, gone. Now, you'd figure if they're leaving Twitter, they'd leave Twitter on all platforms, but they certainly haven't at the very least in the Japanese Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised if other non-English ones were like that too. But, what we really got to talk about is the rogue interns. Now, you've seen the woke types talk like the rogue intern is some kind of boogeyman. But you see, as somebody who's been in this hobby for a long time, I can remember back when the Games Workshop forums still existed, and they would ban you on there for mentioning squats. So, yeah, this is not a new problem. This is an old problem. It goes way back. The Games Workshop forums were an absolute shit show. They were a mess, and that's why Games Workshop got rid of them. And it was, only later on, I want to say toward the end of 7th, that they middle 7th edition, end of 7th edition, somewhere in that area, where they created the disaster that is the Warhammer community, where they took up the current trend to compartmentalize and manage the concept of fandom by replacing fandom with community. Because, as we all know, nothing works out like corporate managed fandom. Or they love that term. They love this term community, don't they? Like, they try to make it like everyone's in one big pot and everyone just agrees with each other on everything. I mean, back before the Warhammer community existed, there was just the Warhammer fandom. It was just a bunch of nerds in game stores playing games and talking Warhammer and getting into in character faction rivalry, and it was fun. And that was the Warhammer I got into years ago. And it's the one that is still the real fandom, because ultimately at the end of the day, no corporate managed community can replace fandom. We've seen that much with Star Wars, if we're being honest. how the Star Wars community is this, rotting vestigial organ, while the Star Wars fandom continues to uphold what made Star Wars good and what made Star Wars enjoyable. But when it comes to specifically Warhammer social media in, in the community era of it, I mean, we've seen the fruits of its existence pretty loud and clear. We've seen the existence of an unpopular change to the lore that was completely unprompted and unsupported by the very codex that introduced it, upheld by a social media post, which, as I've been over before, you can't make canon via social media posts. That's not how canon works. We've seen appeals to terrorists burning cities down during the Summer of Love, to please don't burn down our Games Workshop stores. We support you. And people who don't support your rampant terrorism won't be missed. Because let's be real here, the Warhammer is for Everyone post, that's what that was about. It was shallow corporate pandering during the Summer of Love to try to keep, Black Lives Matter from burning down Warhammer storefronts. That's what it was about. And all they managed to do was divide their carefully fostered community even more with their toxicity toward actual fans, implying actual Warhammer fans were racists. And then, of course, there's, one of the great cherries on top that the woke tourists will throw at you every 5 minutes, and that is the Imperium is driven by hate, Warhammer is not article, which is hilarious because this was in the wake of the oft-touted Austrian painter incident at a Spanish tournament. The one and only case people can ever bring up of a fascist being a Warhammer fan. And the funny part is, he played orcs. So yeah, the whole Imperium is driven by hate thing is really hilarious when you realize the guy they aimed this toward, they promised to dedicate resources to fighting fascism in the community, which, they never followed up on anything on that article. The guy didn't even play Imperium. So, I mean, yeah. If you ever wanted to know that all this stuff was made by a rogue intern, some Nottingham University person they hired who probably doesn't even step into an office, they work from their own home computer. If everyone wanted proof of that, there it is. They can't even get the basics of the basics right. And this is before we go into the fact that the Warhammer community website on a good day doesn't understand the very releases they're coming out with. If you ever want to look back at a good example, just look at the Black Templar Castellan when that was released, and they couldn't figure out if he was Firstborn or Primaris. So yeah, the Warhammer social media is just a joke. It is just a joke overall. Games Workshop, it would not surprise me at all if it is the most unmanaged part of Games Workshop as a company. Essentially populated, not so much populated, but run by British college liberals they hire to work from home, who can just like, hey, put up an article about this, and then they're just effectively given a rough idea of what to post. It would not surprise me at all. So when I hear woke tourists, getting all talking about, oh, the rogue intern is just a boogeyman, it's like, no, they're real, and they've been running the Warhammer social media accounts since they had forums, before Twitter even existed, and probably since before you existed. So yeah, Warhammer social media is a joke, honestly. And it wouldn't surprise me if the reason they left Twitter at all is because coming up soon, they're going to be bombarded one way or another with controversy on social media. That, of course, being the big reveals on the 18th of this month, July 2025, where they will finally decide if they're going to nut up and commit to female custodes actually existing. Because every book they've released since then has outright ignored or denied their existence with straight up counter retcon. Or are they gonna waffle about it still? Are they gonna release the new Custodes models with only males, or are they going to have female models in it? I mean, we'll find out Friday. But honestly, no matter how you look at it, no matter how much that might happen, they're not going to save Warhammer social media. Warhammer social media is a lost cause, and honestly, they should just abandon it. It would honestly work better than them trying to keep it working. But all that said, that's been this particular rant. I'm Marshall Bohemond. I'll catch you later, and have a good day, everyone.